What a dominating performance by the Green Bay Packers here in week 15 to beat the Seattle Seahawks 30-13 in their own house. And I was hearing go Pack go chants through the first, second, third, and fourth quarter. Man, shout out to all the Packers fans that were out there representing the green and gold and showcasing that Packers fans really do travel so well. Now, this game was definitely a tale of two halves. And it looked like the Packers were going to run away with this one very, very early in this first half, going up 14-0. Then they got really stagnant in the second half, in the third quarter, and that was mainly the offense. But I want to start off by saying this. This was a terrific performance by this defense. And you might sit back and go, oh, well, they played a backup quarterback in the second half. They were doing the same exact thing to Geno Smith. So unfortunate that Geno did get hurt, and hopefully it's nothing significant and he can continue to play. They're still in the running for the NFC West, but the Packers dominated on defense. And the only reason this game wasn't 42-13 was because of the Packers offense that definitely struggled in the second half. But we'll dive into it because it was, like I said, tale of two halves. But the main takeaway from this game for me was two players that returned from multi-week injuries that, in my opinion, got game balls on their respective side of the football. On offense, it was Romeo Doubs, and on defense, it was Edgerrin Cooper. So let's just start with the defense, man. It was massive, and I mean massive, getting Edgerrin Cooper back. The prior 2 weeks against Miami, against Detroit, teams were tearing up the middle of our defense, and that was because we had Isaiah McDuffie in coverage, and he allowed over 200 receiving yards on him. That was not the case tonight, and that's even with Quay Walker checking out with an ankle injury. Hopefully we learn it's not that serious this week, and he can potentially play against New Orleans next Monday. But even if he can't, and we need to get him right for playoffs, I'm comfortable with Edgerrin Cooper being the starting linebacker of the Green Bay Packers because this was his best game as an NFL pro, by far. Edgerrin Cooper, what a day. Like I said, game ball on defense. Cooper led the team in total tackles with 7, led the team in solo tackles with 6. He had a sack. He had 2 tackles for loss. He had 2 passes defensed and 1 interception. I mean, this guy is going to be a future star at linebacker for the Green Bay Packers. And he's living up to every expectation I had of him. Even before the Packers drafted him, he was the second most mock drafted player to the Packers I had. And he was someone that I loved coming out of this draft class. And I was hoping that the Packers would draft him. And I just love to see him being implemented into this defense and utilized because the guy can rush the passer, right? We're bringing him on A-gap pressure and he's getting home. He can run fit and he can cover. We saw that great interception, the great zone coverage on Fant there. Just read that post route and right in the passing lane of Sam Howell and came down with that interception. Again, just a massive game for Edgerrin Cooper. I think it was definitely a close second for JJ Enagbare for game ball on defense. I mean, he finished second in the team with total tackles with 5, second in solo tackles with 5. He had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. And on the one drive where he had 2 sacks, he had 3 straight tackles. He had a sack and then tackled Sam Howell 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. And then on third down had another sack. So Enagbare absolutely disrupted that one drive all by himself. And it's great that the Packers have so much rotation at edge opposite Rashawn Gary, who also ended the day with a sack. Overall, I mean, we just got home. We had 7 total sacks. You expected that against a pretty poor offensive line from Seattle, but a lot of the times this year, we've been going against poor offensive lines and not really lived up to getting home to the quarterback, but we definitely did tonight. And a lot of time we did so just bringing 4, and you can see how dangerous this Packers defense can be when your front 4 actually start to get home like they did tonight. Sack totals, Edgerrin Cooper with 1, JJ Enagbare with 2, Rashawn Gary had 1, Brenton Cox Jr. had 1, Devontae Wyatt had 1, and Carl Brooks had 1. Man, both the Wyatt and Brooks sacks were awesome as well. Devontae Wyatt put Lamea, the right guard, in a spin cycle and got right to the quarterback, and then Carl Brooks walked back their left guard, Laken Tomlinson, like 5 yards and pretty much tackled him into Sam Howell. We also have some great interior pass rushers in Wyatt, Brooks, and even Kenny Clark, who I thought also had a nice day. But man, the edge rotation is just phenomenal. We see players like Brenton Cox and Enagbare. LVN, not much on the stat sheet tonight, but in previous games has been. Then you also even have Aaron Mosby, who I saw yet again in coverage, force an incompletion. So again, he's picking up right where Preston Smith left off. As for the Packers secondary, when you take a look at both quarterbacks, we held them for 20 for 33, 128 yards, 5.2 average, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a 49.2 pass rating. Again, this was a terrific performance by this defense, and I think it started with our cornerback room. We've been talking a lot about Eric Stokes and Carrington Valentine and how they've been rotating those two, and they've been getting picked on. I think both had a great game tonight. We didn't talk about Eric Stokes much tonight, and that's usually a good thing when you're playing cornerback. And then Carrington Valentine gets his first career interception. If either one of those guys can step up and become a good cornerback number 2, I mean, this defense is going to hit the next level when Jair Alexander comes back, that's for sure. So hopefully this can continue ending the season, right? They can continue to build confidence. And I'm talking Carrington Valentine and Eric Stokes. And like I said, if we can just get one of those guys to step up, this defense can be so much better. As for this run defense, that's really been impressive for the past 4 weeks. We saw it against Miami, against San Fran, against Detroit, holding all those teams under 4 yards per carry. Now, tonight, the average wasn't as good as that. They did allow 5 yards per carry, and it definitely helps that they went up 14-0 early because Zach Charbonnet is a dangerous runner and finished with 6.8 yards per carry due to that one long of 24, that one touchdown, their only touchdown on the night. But overall, the team finished 16 of 80. 5.0 average and 1 touchdown. Again, it helps going up 14-0, kind of making a team one-dimensional. The Seahawks are more of a passing team anyways, but I gotta say, this Packers run defense, it's good right now. It's very good, and I don't know the last time I've been able to say that as a Packers fan. Overall, this defense held the Seattle Seahawks offense to 4 for 13 on third downs. 208 total yards, only a 3.7 yards per play, 128 passing yards, 80 rushing yards, had 2 interceptions, and sacked their quarterbacks a total of 7 times. Great defensive performance tonight. Now moving over to the offense, and like I said at the beginning of the video, this is definitely a tale of 2 halves. To start this game out in that first drive, it was 8 straight touches for Josh Jacobs. It started with a screenplay, then a swing pass, then 6 straight runs. And it looked like it was going to be a massive, and I mean massive, Josh Jacobs night. And it was the first half. It absolutely was. Josh Jacobs finished that first half with 17 touches, 111 yards from scrimmage, and a touchdown. And he only finished the game with 136 yards. And that was 13 more touches in the second half. So definitely a tale of 2 halves. The Packers had 0 rushing yards in the third quarter. And the Seattle Seahawks defense definitely adjusted there in the second half. But to start this game out, the run blocking was great. Josh Jacobs was breaking tackles. There's massive running lanes, and I kind of expected that going into this game. Seattle's like the 21st ranked running defense. They allowed 4.7 yards per carry entering this game, and honestly, I didn't expect them to stop it in the third quarter. And same goes for Jordan Love. Overall, had a great game, 20 of 27, 229 yards, 8.5 average, 2 touchdowns, third straight game without an interception. Didn't get sacked once. This offensive line just continues to be excellent in pass protection, and 123.8 pass rating. So there's not much I can complain about. Did miss some few throws here and there, but overall, a great game from Jordan Love. But again, it was definitely a tale of 2 halves. And the third quarter was a struggle for this Packers offense. Love finished this first half 12 of 13, 142 yards and a touchdown, and then had 6 incompletions in the second half. Now, one thing that I think a lot of us Packers fans can take away, at least being a little bit upset about in this game, is kind of taking your foot off the gas. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and get too upset about a 30-13 victory against at the time, an 8-5 football team. I'm all about that. I don't care what the stats look like. If you win 30-13, I'm happy about it, of course. But there are times when we're sitting here going, okay, we need to keep our foot on the gas, all gas, no brakes, what Matt LaFleur once said. And it just seems like sometimes we're not doing that. It just really seems like sometimes we're not. Now, in the third quarter, we're up by 14, 4th and 1. We elect to take the 3 and go up by 3 scores. At first, I was a little bit upset about this. But again, they had their backup quarterback in. We're up by 14. Go up by 3 scores against a backup quarterback. That all but ensures a victory. And it did in this game. So I understand the look there. But, there's other times when we just get stagnant on offense and we're just kind of being too complacent. And I don't want this to come back to bite the Packers when it really matters in a game. When you go up scores early and often, just continue to do what's working, right? And never step off the gas. Just keep scoring and scoring and scoring. They tend to get stagnant when they go up multiple scores, this offense. So I really don't like to see that continue. We had the 4th and 2. After the 3rd and 2, Reed was wide open and he just slipped. It's unfortunate, but hey, we're still 4th down here. We can still get this. And I'll say this, man. I cannot stand shotgun runs on short yardage situation. I think we can all agree on that. I mean, even on 3rd and 2, you could run 2 straight quarterback sneaks and you'd get a first down. And we wouldn't be talking about if Jayden Reed didn't slip. But why in the world on short yardage situations are you running out of shotgun? Like, why do you want to be farther away from the line to gain? And if you're going to run out of shotgun, why are you running towards your worst run blocking tackle in Rasheed Walker, where Zach Tom's one of the better ones in the NFL, and you're running towards their best defensive player and their best run defender in Leonard Williams? It just doesn't make much sense. Sometimes the play calling doesn't make much sense. But that's really the only, issues I had with this game. Just the Packers getting a little bit stagnant there in the 3rd quarter and letting off the gas. Other than that, I mean, scoring 30 points, I can't be that mad. And Seattle defense is underrated. Their pass defense is definitely underrated. And Jordan Love finished with over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, so I can't be that mad. The Packers finished 34 carries, 140 yards, 4.1 average on the ground, so great there as well. Christian Watson, 3 catches, 56 yards. This guy's average over the past 4 weeks per catch is absolutely insane. Jacobs still being utilized heavily in the pass game, 4 for 42. Romeo Doubs, man, welcome back. Definitely missed you. And Romeo Doubs had a hell of a game. 2 touchdowns on 3 catches, 40 yards. Almost should have had 3 touchdowns. That one miscommunication in the first half where Jordan Love thought he was running a post. He ran a corner, really misjudged the ball. It was an awesome throw by Love. But that second touchdown catch, man, definitely going to be in contention for catch of the year. I think it was such a great body adjustment by Romeo Doubs to snag that one off the turf, get a foot down, get an elbow down, touchdown, and pretty much end this game. Great to have Romeo Doubs back. There's just every game, man, it's just like what receiver is going to go off? What receiver is going to destroy the upcoming defense? And you might be saying 3 catches, 40 yards isn't destroying, but the 2 touchdowns definitely are. Tucker Kraft finished 2 for 34. Jayden Reed finally got some touches after getting no touches last week. 5 catches, 34 yards, and 3 carries for 27 yards. So great to see Jayden Reed heavily involved in the offense today. Wicks, 2 catches, 14 yards, and Chris Brooks, a catch for 9. To wrap things up, the Packers finally have a kicker. Brandon McManus, I believe, is 14 of 15 on the year. And right now he's on a 1-year deal, and the Packers need to go and give him an extension for probably the next 3 years, because we struggled to find a kicker after losing Mason Crosby, or getting rid of Mason Crosby, should I say. Anders Carlson was a struggle. Braden Arvison was more than that. And finally, Brandon McManus seems to be our kicker, and I'm so happy to say that. Now the 10-4 Packers head back to Green Bay to take on the New Orleans Saints next Monday Night Football game I'll actually be going to. So if you happen to be going to that game or tailgating or anything like that, be on the lookout for my community tab and also on my Twitter. I'm going to be doing a meetup there in Green Bay, and would like to join some tailgates, of course, before the game as well. But appreciate you guys coming by to the channel. An impressive victory overall for the Green Bay Packers, 30-13, moving to 10-4, and next week can clinch a playoff berth with a win. I appreciate you guys coming by. Go down, click the like button if you did enjoy the video. Click subscribe if you happen to be a new viewer here and want to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers. But I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.